Lucky Boys Podcast.
Yeah.
The rise in all these attacks against Asians happened in January, and it just recently they had the Asian anti, hate
crime task force, right?
Which is not even from what we've been.
It's not
legitimate.
It's a volunteer group.
It's a volunteer
exactly.
group. They don't have their own office. I mean,
right? They still answer to their own command. They don't really, have to. So but it's a step move in the right direction. But again, I think we need to say, hey. What do we do to protect all people?
Right. We need to protect the Muslims, the Arabs,
the
right. Asians, everyone, the Latinos, the blacks,
transgenders. They should not. No one should walk out and be afraid to leave their home. It's a pretty sad statement during the press conference, and I'm proud of Deputy Inspector Liu. He said it on camera. Even my own families and friends are afraid to leave their home.
Absolutely.
I'm like, come on. He's a deputy inspector, right? Isn't it time for us to do something? Isn't it time for us to make sure we got the right resources to do it, right?
And even as deputy inspector, he can only do so much.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Because still, we're moving, I think with everyone's support, we are moving the needle, if you will, right?
Right.
It's not a hate crime, but the hate crime task force is investigating.
We're moving the needle, yes. But I just feel like it's not enough,
Not even close.
It's not enough, and it's not. And I almost feel like, okay, fine, just to get you guys to shut the hell up. Well, this is what it is, and they're gonna put a fancy bow around it, and then when you open up and look inside, you're like, wait, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah,
it's not what we wanted. It's not what we're asking for. This Asian hate that you put on social media, you put this all over the news networks, right? I saw this on the 10 o'clock news, primetime news, all over the place, and I thought to myself, yes, they're hate crime unit, so they can allocate more resources and address these issues like they would for any other human being.
That's right.
But when you open up the box and you look inside of it, it's not what it is. It's a volunteer group, because when you open up a group, they're supposed to allocate all these resources to it and actually fund it and put some money behind it and give them an office just so they can do their work. They can do their due diligence. And you mean to tell me that this department is just a volunteer group?
And then with
it's like saying, how do you feel if your community and you're going, hey, there's a possible chance of fire being lit in one of these homes. So therefore, we need a fire department. We need a fire department in this community. We don't need it in the next town because they won't get here in time. Everything's going to be burned to shreds. We need a fire department in our community to put out a fire literally when it happens. And then they're going, hey guys, we did it for you. You guys have a fire department. And then when you look behind it, guess what? These guys don't have their own firehouse. They don't have their own fire trucks. It's a volunteer group. Whoever wants to fucking fight fire,
show up
and put out the fucking fire. What the fuck?
Yeah, I think the things that, we're not that smart, but we've seen how other community concerns are addressed, right? Let's put more cops on the subways that a lot of Asians ride those trains, right? This is the problem. 4 or 5 o'clock at this point, all the storefronts come to empty out because there is safety in numbers. So that's why these guys are now all leaving to take the train together to go home. Mm-hmm. So
and a lot of them are also they're armed. They have some sort of weapon, whether it's a gun or a knife or pepper spray. And I'm just concerned if they use it, because guess what? They use it in self-defense somehow, and I'm going to knock on wood, Don. Somehow it'll be the Asian person's fault, where they use too much violence to protect themselves. And now they're being charged with attempted murder or something else, right? Where somebody else started it and we finish it, or that person finishes it. And then now we're charged with whatever they're going to put on. I just hope that doesn't happen. That's my concern. And yes, I know in New York specifically, or a lot of other states, having a firearm is highly illegal, right? But if these guys are freaking,
criminals
concerned about being burned. They're concerned about getting jumped and randomly punched in the face, getting knocked out, and potentially, being hit in a street fight, your head landing on concrete, that's the concern.
It's game over, man.
It's game over. You're done. You'll never be the same person again. You're concussed, and it's a wrap for you.
At that point, it's too late. I mean, like when I hear like sometimes that the police force is like a reactive department group. They should be actively policing.
It's not too late. It's beyond that. You need a new word, but they're flagrantly late because it's been happening. It is happening.
Right. We need reform, real reform. That's why, like, even in Chinatown, you see there's a lot of people who, people call them homeless, right? And like you said, you're going to see a lot of the ladies giving money to these guys. They don't like, let me, like Upper East Side, Upper West Side, who doesn't want them out. Folks in Chinatown actually feel sorry for them, give them money. And I'm proud of that in many ways. But at the same time, the city needs to stop calling these guys homeless. We all need a home. But they need more than that. Some of these guys really need these services. And we're forced to the point where I think in our community, I think maybe due to language or just how we communicate. And I think this is where it divides the Asian and Chinese American community with other communities. Because the first thing they think of is, let's call the cops. And my reaction is like, what's a cop going to do? Right? I said to them, start changing that. Start saying, Bill de Blasio, Mayor de Blasio, where are the social workers? Where are the people? And I don't mean that in being disrespectful, try to be funny. I really meant that, so. But
call a politician.
Call a politician. But we're forced to the point.
Can make change. Because the local police officer, even if they can empathize and they feel for you in that moment, they can't make that change. They can't put their name on a piece of paper and restructure something. They can't, as much as they want to help, they can stop the crime. That's their job function and to protect the law. But the people that actually can update and do something, put their name, who's authorized to sign something, put a bill and have it pass, those are the people we need to speak to.
Right, to make sure there's services, real service for these guys.